Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining me today. It's Allan Laboucan with the Rocks and Stocks News website. We've got another in our interviews with CEOs of junior mining companies, and Endurance Gold has got news out today, and it's quickly becoming one of my favorite exploration projects. I love high-grade gold. I love it when it's in a place where you can get at it easily with good infrastructure. I love projects that the geology is understandable, wide open, and these guys are really getting the hang of it. They announced today, I'll just give you the highlight, 13.75 grams per ton gold over 9.15 meters. This is really turning out to be a spectacular discovery that's growing. And I've got Robert Boyd on the horn to talk about it today. Robert, thank you very much for joining us.
Well, thank you, Allan. And it's a pleasure to get back together again with you right now. And you probably noticed I got a little bit of a fat lip. So I've been at the dentist this morning. So I appreciate you putting up with my bug today. So
not a problem when you release those kind of results, Robert. You guys got to be pretty happy with the start of the 2022 drilling campaign.
Yeah, absolutely. And that highlight drill intersection you mentioned was the high grade core of an intersection that averaged 6.4 grams per ton gold over 30.48 meters. So very encouraging. It was drilled in the same area, but at a different angle to that hole we released earlier this year, hole 21020, which was a diamond drill hole, and that one averaged 15.7 grams over 24.8 meters. So that grade that we had there is similar to the grade that we had in the higher grade portion that you opened with. So
was this intersection above or below that previous?
It would have been roughly in the same area, but at a different angle. So essentially the idea was to try and understand the true width of that intersection. And we have some other holes drilled in the area that we don't have assay results yet for, but we did provide some guidance on our press release last week that indicated that a hole above that looks like it's got about a 9-meter zone of encouraging PXRF arsenic. And then another step out to the northwest has about another 20 at a almost 90-degree angle to the original diamond drill hole, but a step out to the north has an intersection that could generate gold over about 24 meters interval based on the PXRF arsenic proxies. So we have to wait for assays on that because this hole in particular that we just announced did have an intersection that we mentioned in that press release last week that had there was about 38 meters of high elevated arsenic, and the actual assay we're reporting was a 30.48 meters. So it's a really these are guidance. These PXRF things, they don't tell you what the ultimate width and grade is going to be, which you define based on the actual assay numbers.
Well, I wanted to talk about that previous news release for a couple of reasons, Robert. You guys are throwing some pretty good science at this. The XRF was able to pick up the arsenic, and it looks like it's pretty accurate. I mean, you're not going to get exact, numbers of gold, but it's telling you the chemistry is indicating that you can see the right stuff with the XRF and that the lab results are coming back with what you would hope.
Yes, well, we are fortunate that based on our historic exploration on the property of channel sampling and prior drilling, both RC and diamond drilling, and the assay techniques that we've done geostatistics on that, and the data indicates that there's a 0.58 correlation between the Pathfinder arsenic mineral as a mineral and gold. So that suggests to you that if you have elevated arsenic, there's an 85% chance you're going to have elevated gold associated with that intersection as well. And PXRF is very good at analyzing for arsenic, but it's really bad at analyzing for gold. So we use it as a proxy to help us design our program. And then it's on top of that, the RC drilling is a chip or dry technique that generates chips and fine particles. And when those get in the sample bag, your whole sample over the 5-foot interval of the sampling is quite homogenized. And so when we can test that sample, we get good repeatability on the PXRF for those pathfinder elements. So the combination of techniques make this work well for us. It doesn't apply to every project because you can have a positive correlation for gold and arsenic in orogenic gold systems is common. But if it's a 0.35 or a 35% chance, then you end up with a lower chance of getting higher gold, a lower chance of using that as a correlation factor. We're just fortunate that it's a high correlation coefficient that makes it work, and it's in a homogenized sample. We can't use it as guidance for diamond drilling, for instance, or our channel sample, because those are bigger chips that are less homogenized, the samples.
Got it. So you brought up a couple of good points there. One is relating to the XRF and the arsenic. That's going to help you to be able to move forward with your drilling before you even see assay results as you confirm what you're seeing there. Let's talk about that first, then I'll get to the other point you brought up.
Well, the technique we used helped us guide where we wanted to step out and where we see the potential for the zone. And so it helped us in guiding our RC drill program and where we want to put our next holes. But we've got mineralization that we can tell in the diamond drill core. So we can diamond drill these zones, and then when we intersect, we can tell based on the the mineralogy associated with the zones whether we're likely to have gold. And so we'll have fine-grained arsenopyrite, often stibnite. Stibnite has a positive correlation with gold as well, but it's not as positive as arsenic. So when you see stibnite mineralogy or antimony minerals and arseno minerals in trace content through an interval, that gives us a pretty high level of confidence we're likely to have gold, and we can use that as a basis for planning our diamond drilling as well. But we just can't release that kind of PXRF data into the public like we felt comfortable doing for RC data.
Yeah, the point that I'm trying to get at, Robert, is sometimes later in the season, the return of assays can get a little slower. You guys had some very good return, very rapid, but you want to be able to keep moving forward with your drilling while you're awaiting assays. And I think you guys have a good handle on that.
Yeah, we do. And we're fortunate that we got our program started early because of our location, only 4-hour drive from Vancouver and a low elevation. It's been a cool spring, but we were still able to get going with our RC drilling in late April. And that's probably beat a lot of the people in BC to drilling by a month or two. And so it gave us the chance to get good turnarounds at the lab at this time of the year, but they're going to slow down as the year progresses. And then we use, with diamond drilling and our understanding now of the geology, we can see what we're seeing in the drill holes and make determinations on that. It just takes a longer time to be able to inform the public on what to expect.
But I guess it's a good indicator that the fact that you keep pounding away with holes means that you got a good handle on what's going on.
Yeah, well, we aren't the area we're testing and spending our time on right now is a very good system, very strong system. So we're fortunate that our success ratio is very high on our drilling activity. And that success ratio indicates the strength of the system and how endowed it is with both the trace elements as well as gold, suggesting it's a strong system. And we can tell that from the strength of the alteration, which is even wider and bigger than the actual gold zones themselves.
Well, that's the second point, and you added some points to it that I want to talk about now, which is orogenic systems. One of the famous ones is the Fosterville mine in Australia. When that was mined for 20 years, then they got deep enough to hit the jewelry box of the Swan Zone, and that was a company maker for Kirkland Lake. I think you guys have a company maker for an exploration company here. And you mentioned a couple things, is that, you're trying to understand the system, how endowed it is, and the power of the system. The fact that you're getting thick intersections so close to surface with high grade really opens the door for getting deeper into the system. So far, you've kind of been tracing it down the side of the mountain. And then the next step is to follow it down, plunge deeper. And these things can go on forever. And so, that's some great stuff you mentioned there, Robert.
Yeah, and these, we're at a high level or an epizonal level in an orogenic setting. So they can transition into slightly different mineralogy, where we have fine gold near surface, where you might transition into coarser gold at depth. That's how some of these systems at Fosterville, as an example, has that kind of transition as you go deeper in these systems. So, but we're still really at the top. Our goal is to find the edges of the system over the 1.5 to 2 kilometer strike length that we've defined as anomalous now, and then start following the nodes or hotter zones as they go deeper in these typically plunging chutes that are typical of orogenic type gold systems, and follow those at depth. And we're just transitioning into that stage now where we're moving deeper on the system.
Well, you got to be encouraged to see that fine grain gold kicking back the kinds of grades it is, and that's suggestive that you're at the top of the system. And as you get deeper, you should look for more jewelry box type numbers, but it's very encouraging what you're seeing so close to surface in the finds.
Yeah, well, we are. I mean, some of the samples in those in our press release we just put out now, we had pretty consistent sample to sample grades over 15 grams for the over 10 to 15 grams in that one interval, including one sample that ran up to 30 grams, like almost an ounce per ton over a 5-foot interval. So it's, it indicates the system is strong and pregnant over a good width. And so that gives us encouragement that this system is a very gold-rich system, considering the amount of sulfide and arsenic and antimony that's with it. It's a very gold-rich system, which is... And we are in a gold-rich camp. It's a camp that's produced over 4 million ounces of gold on a parallel structure, and this looks like it's on a parallel structure that was unrecognized near surface. And so we're just starting on surface, and we hope to follow it down and have potential to turn this into a very large gold system.
So, and that's sort of, I think, what people have to understand as well, is you're using this close to surface stuff that you've been able to bang away a bunch of RC holes into to guide you deeper so that you have predictability.
Well, that's right. Every gold system has its vagaries and unique characteristics, and we haven't fully defined what those characteristics are in terms of plunge and shoot directions and other things like that. That's the kind of work we have to start building on as we probe this at depth. But we're fortunate that because so much of it's close to surface, that we're able to define and get a good success ratio with our drilling to date. And that success ratio, as you chase these things at depth, you end up having to drill a lot more footage to get a single intersection compared to what we're doing now. And But we will hope we can continue with the same kind of success that we've had shallow with our deeper drilling once we understand the system and know which way it's going.
And it opens the door for higher grade as you get deeper into the system.
We hope so, but we're not. We're pretty happy with the grade we're getting already. So that kind of grade is good, even if you get it at depth. So
yeah, excellent. So okay, let's talk a little bit about. You've just reported how many holes, Robert?
Well, in this one, we reported 3 holes from the Eagle zone, and then 3 highlight holes where we got good assay results on the treasure trend. And those were intersections like 3 and 4.5 meters or so, but in the 1.5 to 2 gram range for those, which is not bad for a first tag on a new parallel gold system. And that's on a parallel structure that's about 300 meters away from where the Eagle Imperial trend is, which is the one with the strongest alteration and stronger grades and widths. So needless to say, our focus is stepping out on the better grades over widths, and so we'll get back and do some more work on that treasure trend. So we've done about three holes on Eagle. We had total 33 holes that were drilled in this program, and 8 of those were on the treasure trend, and then the balance were on the Eagle area. Some of those holes didn't achieve target because of water problems. We're drilling with a dry technique. So we've provided guidance in our press release of last week, where we had high elevated PXRF arsenic to indicate the holes that are likely to carry. And based on that, we're seeing over the Eagle area, we've got one of the good holes that's reported now, and we expect to see another 4 holes of decent width. And when I say decent, exceeding 18 meters of elevated arsenic with a PXRF. So, and we're seeing those are about a 250 meter strike trend on that Eagle area. I could show you on a figure too, if you'd like.
Yeah, that'd be great. You can share your screen there, Robert. So we got a bunch of holes still pending, and you're banging away at diamond core now, right?
Yeah, we've moved to diamond drill core, and this is, I don't know if you can see that image, Allan, but can you see that? So.
Not yet, Robert.
Okay, what do you see?
This Robert Boyd has started screen sharing. There you go. Now I see it. So now we can see the plan view.
Yeah. So this is a plan view showing the drilling we've been doing over the last couple of years, starting at the bottom of the hill up in here where my cursor is where we had these outcrops on these road cuts in here. And that road cut, for instance, ran about 5 grams over 30 meters or so. So that's the actual Eagle zone daylighting. And we followed up here even an additional road cuts up here where it was 23 meters of 4.8 grams in a road cut here. And it's essentially the shallow dipping, minus 35 degree dipping structure that we now traced out with all this pink coloration over about 350 meters of strike right now. But then as you get up the hill in this area, where we put in these new roads in this past year, they were just put in last fall. And so we're now up drilling off these roads. And you can see the white stars I show here are additional holes that we expect where there's intersections over 18 meters PXRF that suggest that there's a strong strength of the system. And this is where that flat vein seems to either go steep or turn in to a steeper structure related to a fault zone that we've identified down in this area here. And so essentially what we have is a steep dipping, what our current interpretation is a steep dipping structure, which fed the shallower flat vein feature, and that shallower vein, flat vein breccia feature outcropped here on surface, and then is underground, but still fairly shallow, close to surface. Intersections where we've hit it are less than, typically less than 30 meters below the surface in this area here.
Well,
the actual vertical structure that we see here does outcrop, and that's what got us drilling in this area very quickly last year.
One of the things I'm always looking for is continuity and trying to connect those dots of the high grade. And it certainly looks like you've got a nice trend building in that distal part. And then as you get closer to what looks like your steeply dipping part, it's hanging together pretty nicely.
Yeah, we do. We get pretty good continuity in this pink eagle, minus 35-degree dipping shear. And then we're just now starting to get the penetration ratio to understand width and grade of this steeper dipping feature in here, which we see in outcrop, both in this area where we drilled and got our 15.7 grams over 24.8 meters in that drill hole. And we went at that same intersection with a different angle, about 30-degree different angle. And that's the one where we got the 6.4 over 30 meters with a higher grade core of 13.75 over 9.15 in this area. And so we've got a step out here that looks interesting. And then, although we don't have an asterisk on it here, this hole went in above these zones, and we do see the zone continuing based on our PXRF over about a 9-meter width above it, and 24 meters in this hole. And these holes, both of these holes have intersections based on PXRF arsenic over 18 meters. So we're really anxiously awaiting for these gold results, because they really open up the system to the southwest by demonstrating results based on gold numbers, which is really what you have to hang your hat on in this system. And so it's still wide open to the southeast here. And the yellow color we got on here is our gold and soil anomaly. So there's still a lot of gold and soil that hasn't been explained here.
Wow. So is that the focus going forward, Robert, to now focus the core on chasing that vertical structure deeper?
Yeah, well, we've got a gap in our knowledge in this area, Allan, and so we're initially testing in this area with the diamond drill, and then we're moving up and continuing to test with the diamond drill through these areas. And then if this is a steeper structure, then we have to step back and start putting holes back here, chasing a structure that's dipping back in this direction. Well, we'll be testing. We can test that now with our existing roads, and then we've got plans to open up additional trails here to open up the zones for additional deeper drilling.
So to say this is wide open, I mean, you've got lots of untested areas still to figure out. You got the steeply dipping or plunging system to figure out, and this looks like a very big, powerful system of mineralizing system of an orogenic geology. So it's pretty awesome looking stuff, Robert.
Yeah, and this is about a 400 meter trend in here that we see. It's got potential at this Eagle zone, but remember that falls within about a 1.5 kilometer zone where we've got gold and bedrock, including the Imperial zone, which is being tracked with our drilling and some historic drilling down to 200 meters below surface. So we know this system goes at depth, and just from the stuff that's 600 meters away on our trend.
Is that Imperial to the southwest or southeast, sorry?
Imperial would be up here about 500 to 600 meters northwest of the end of our Eagle zone is the Imperial zone. And all of this area is largely untested, never had significant drilling to test in between here. So there's still a lot more work to be done here.
So there's lots pending, lots more going on. You're going to the PDAC. I invite anybody that's going to the PDAC to check out your booth.
Yeah, we've got booth 2435 in the Investor Exchange. So we're not that far away from the food court and the entrance. So you have to pretty much walk by our booth. I'll try to be there when I'm not tied up in other meetings, but we're there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in Toronto. And then we're also going to try to participate in the virtual PDAC as well 2 weeks later.
Do you plan on taking some core there with you, Robert?
I have shipped some core. I hope it arrives. So there'll definitely be some core from this drill intersection in particular is what we're focusing on that we're going to have on display.
Well, I'm sure that core will help you to be able to explain the story.
Well, it's really interesting core because this is not a vein. This is a breccia system, a sulfide breccia system. So it's very interesting textures, beautiful looking mineralization. But you don't see a lot of visible gold, but that's the nature of this. It's a fine gold system.
Got a feeling that visible gold is going to start coming as you drill deeper.
Well, we don't know. We don't want to promise that because we haven't demonstrated that yet. So we'll continue to follow this at depth, and we'll get what we get. But we know as an orogenic gold system that this has got every potential to be rooted at depth because these systems are fed from deep hydrothermal fluids for an orogenic gold system. So once you're onto them, you can typically follow them at depth to depth.
And that's why I'm saying it, not you, Robert, but I think there's pretty good potential that that's coming in the future.
I sure hope so, but we're going to do. We've got an exploration program here. That by the end of this year, we'll be able to demonstrate that that's the case and where it's going.
Well, as they say, it's proof will be in the pudding, but this system you have is very exciting, and the grades you're getting and the thicknesses you're getting is quite impressive.
Yeah, it is, and we look forward to a busy year of news. So hopefully, I'll be talking to a few more times through the summer and fall.
Robert, you can probably go off a share screen now, and we'll close it up by. I'm very confident we'll be having a lot more of these conversations. You're just out of the box for 2022 drilling and already getting promising stuff. So I think we'll be having a bunch of these in the near future.
Well, thanks very much, Allan. I look forward to talking to you again.
Well, I'm going to wrap it up now, Robert. And if you want to hang around for the wrap up, and we can have a chat at the end once things are over. But thanks again for joining us.
Thank you, Allan, and look forward to an exciting year.
Well, they're off to a great start with Endurance already in 2022 and following up on their success of 2021. This is looking like they've got their handle on what's happening here geologically. Orogenic system, high grade, powerful, and this company only has a $55 million valuation. They've got lots of cash, so they'll be drilling away, and they're now transitioning to core drilling. So keep your eyes on this one, folks. Do your homework. As always, my shows are for information purposes only. Before you make any investment decisions, speak with your financial advisors. And I really encourage you to do your homework on Endurance. Take a look at their news releases. Take a look at their cross sections. Take a look at their last series of drill results. This XRF information was out recently. That one's an important one to look at as well. But again, I think here you've got a tremendous discovery that's growing quickly and a company with a reasonable valuation. So investors that like gold discoveries that look like they have a lot of potential and the potential to make investors money, this is one you should look at. So have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.